Welcome everybody to Kill Zamzam. And so, after the COVID week, so if you guys don't know, watch the COVID Thanksgiving video, right? And you'll understand a little bit more as to what this story is about. But basically, after that quote-unquote COVID Thanksgiving, right? Basically, I wanted to find a way to thank my girlfriend, right? Because obviously she went above and beyond of a brand new girlfriend to make sure that I was okay. And to make sure that I could breathe, because again, if you watch the last video of COVID Thanksgiving, you'll understand why I'm saying she helped me with being able to breathe, but, you know, either way. So basically, I wanted to find a way to thank her. So, I had always heard about my stepdad talking about how he would go and, get a, massage, and he always talked about how it was so relaxing, so great. And I was like, alright, I'll get a massage. I'll get her a massage. That's great. I'll get a whole hour massage. It'll be like a whole couples thing, It'll be great. And so basically what ends up happening, right, is I end up calling the guy or whatever, and the guy's like, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, hey, man, so, I'm wanting a massage, a couples massage. I'm wondering how we could get this started, right? And he's like, alright, so, your girl, so does she prefer, females or males, or does she not have a preference? I'm like, she doesn't have a preference, but I'm sure she would prefer a female. And he's like, okay, you know what, when you guys are available, find out the schedules that were available. And he's like, all right, I'll see you Wednesday. Don't worry, your girl will have my wife, and you'll have me. And I'm like, oh, all right. So this man sounded a little tough, but it's all right. It's all right. We got this. I'm a little feeling off about having a massage from a guy, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. We'll get past that bit of uncomfortability level, but it is what it is. As the day approaches, me and my girl are just feeling happy as shit. We're like, oh shit, this massage is coming, this shit's gonna feel nice. So, the day of the massage comes, we finally make it to the place, and we're so excited. Like, we are happy as shit to try to get this massage, because we're thinking it's gonna be the cliche, it's gonna feel amazing, it's gonna feel great. So, the guy's like, yo man, you got me today. And I'm like, huh. Alright. And then you got my girlfriend who's got this girl who's like, oh, you ready for your massage? She's like, yeah, let's go. And it's like, something seems a little off here, I'm just saying. The pausing on this video was really shit in the last scene, but anyway. So basically what ends up happening is that, basically, they're like, alright, let's take him back or whatever. And so the guy takes me back and he's like, he's like, alright, so in order to do this massage, I'm gonna need you to take some of your clothes off. And I'm like, yo, we barely know each other, man. Like, I don't know what you mean. He's like, no, it's in terms of the massage. I'm like, oh. And he's like, yeah, take off your clothes to your comfortability level and we can get started. And I'm like, okay. And I take off my jacket, I put it in the chair, and I say, okay, I'm good. And he kind of like laughs at me a little bit. He's like, no, you at least have to be like shirtless. And I'm like, oh, is there a way you could give me a massage with my shirt on? He's like, he can tell that I feel uncomfortable, and he's like, look, I'll step out, you just get under the covers, shirtless. And I'm like, a little forward, but okay. So whatever, shirtless, whatever. Keep everything else on, we're Gucci. And so he comes back in, and he's like, alright, he's like, lay on your stomach or whatever, we got this, let's get this shit started. And I'm like, this sounds very similar to a video I've seen before on the internet, but it is what it is, whatever. Except there was a girl in my position, but it is what it is. So he's like, alright, he starts the massage or whatever, and like, he starts with like, his fucking finger like this, right? And he just starts fucking putting it, like, he asked me first, like, where my pain is. I'm like, upper back. He fucking puts his fucking finger just like this into my shoulder. I'm like, ah! And he's like, don't tense up. And I'm like, ah. It was at this moment that I realized that, and I wasn't made aware of this prior, that he's the deep tissue massage person. I didn't come here for that. So this man's going, whoosh, and I'm like, ah! And I'm like fucking like wincing in pain because it fucking hurts. And like, there would be, obviously he's trying to get the knots out of your back. So the knots, like, at least when he's fucking with them, feel like little balls that are like this in your back. And so he's like, you gotta breathe, man, you gotta breathe. And I'm like, I'm breathing. And he's like, look, man, where's the pain? The pain's going to your head, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like doing this shit in my back. And he's like, if you breathe and you don't tense up, it's gonna go all over your body instead of going to your head. It's gonna feel a lot better. I'm like, how is that gonna feel better? And he's like, you gotta do it, man, you gotta do it. I'm like, whoosh, ah! And he's like, see? I was able to slowly go above the ball and everything's fine. And I'm like, ah! Then he's like, he fucking puts his elbow into my back and he goes like, and I'm like, I'm fucking dying out here, man. Like, he fucking basically rolled the shit out of my back with his elbow, like, and I'm over here like, ah! Like, I'm fucking dying here, right? He fucking, like, is fucking with my back in all kinds of ways. I'm over here like, and he's like, guys, stop tensing up, man. You guys stop tensing up. I'm like, I'm not tensing up. He's like, you are tensing up. You are tensing up. I'm like, it's my body's involuntary defenses. Like, I'm just out here dying. So this man starts talking about, you know, his life or whatever. And he's like, you know, I didn't always want to be a massage therapist. And I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, you know what I originally wanted to be? And I'm like, what did you originally want to be? Me asking the near 6 foot, big, muscular black man. What did you want to be prior to this? And he's like, oh, you know, I actually wanted to be a football player. And I'm like, I literally go like this, as my face is in the pillow, I go like this, looking to him. No shit! And he's like, yeah, I actually wanted to be a football player. I actually, you know, tried out for a professional, didn't get in, and I decided to be a massage therapist instead. And I just look at this man, I'm like, how the fuck did you come to that conclusion? That is one highest jump, oh my god! And so he's like, oh, you know, I always used to get massages as a, you know, from when I was younger or whatever. And, you know, I always felt that the power of touch could heal you. As he's fucking drilling into my back with his, like, fucking fingers. And he's like, don't you feel the same way? Don't you feel that the power of touch can heal you? And I'm like, not right now! Oh! He's like, don't you think that this is healing you? I'm like, no, definitely not! And then he's like, well, your stepdad seems to like it when I do deep tissue, and I'm like, good for him. And he's like, your mom seems to like it too, and I'm like, yeah, that's why she's with my stepdad. Ah! My mom, when I told her that joke, really was pissed at me that I said that, but I don't really care. So the entire time, like, I'm fucking dying and shit. So finally, he's like, hey, look, you know, that we're done, you feel better, like, whatever, and he walks out the room. I look at the clock, and he cheated me out of 8 minutes. Let me tell you, he must have done it because he knew how much pain I was in, because I've never been so happy for someone to cheat me out of my time. Because, good lord, there were a couple of times where I wanted to cry, that, like, at least tear up a little bit. That shit was, oh, that shit hurt so bad. And so I get my shirt on, and literally I'm walking like this to the front. Like, I'm walking like this, a little hunchback, right? And, like, the fucking wife is out, like, comes out like a couple minutes later. She's the one that was doing, you know, my girlfriend's back. Man, that sounds really weird when you say it out loud. She was giving my girlfriend a massage. And so she comes out like a few minutes later, and she's like, oh, hey, how's your massage? And I'm like, and she's like, oh, he really, you feel like you got beaten up, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she's like, oh yeah, that's how you know it's working. I'm like, And so, no joke, after she comes out and asks me those questions, you just see my girlfriend coming down the hallway, and she's just going like, hey guys, and I'm over here like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And she comes up and she's like, oh hey honey, how was your massage? And I'm over here like, bitch, why the fuck are you yawning? Why the fuck are you stretching like that? And she's like, I love the massage. The massage is so great. You know what? And she says, like, she talks to the girl. I'm not going to say the real masseuse's name. Let's call her Anna. She's like, hey, Anna, I really liked the massage. And you know what? I really liked it when you put the hot rock treatment on my back. And I'm like, hot rock treatment? And the wife is like, yeah, I gave her the hot rock treatment. You know? Like, yeah, that's how it is, you know? And so then I'm just like, okay, you gave her the hot rock treatment. And she's like, yeah, I gave her a really nice soothing massage, even massaged her feet or whatever, right? And I'm over here like, Of course you did. So my girlfriend got the really soft massage. I got the whole I'm getting raped massage, basically. Yeah, that's basically what it was. They made fun of me a little bit because apparently they could hear my screaming from the other room. So, that was fun. So we left. I ended up tipping him $20. So that was the fastest way for me to spend $100 because the whole thing was like $180. So I was like, oh yeah, because 80 was spent on me, 80 was spent on her, 20. And I'm like, that's the fastest way I've ever spent $100 as a waste of money because golly, that hurt my back. I'm still sore. And it's been like a few days afterwards. And it's not a good sore. It's like a I want to kill myself kind of sore. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there was actually one point where me and, my massager, I guess, he was like fucking giving me a massage, and I'm like, oh, do you give your wife massages? And he's like, yeah, I do. And she gives me massages too. And I'm like, oh, does she enjoy them? And he's like, oh yeah, she loves it when I go deep. And I'm like, yeah, yep, that's more of a woman thing than it is for a guy thing, I'll tell you that. And like, he kind of laughs and I'm just like literally dying as he's like fucking massacring my back. But either way, I'm going to hell for most of the jokes I made during that massage therapy. But either way, so yeah, it was not a good thing for me. I'm glad that my girlfriend enjoyed it because that's the whole point, was to repay her for taking care of me during that week. But yeah, that was not fun. That was not fun in the slightest. But either way, so with that, guys, there's one movie to close. Don't forget to like this video if you did. Don't forget to share this wonderful video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to Unlockable Stories for more vlog type shit like this. And yeah, so with that, guys, there's one video to close. I'm KillZamZam, and I'm out for now. Peace. Oh, also, I'm trying to talk slower because apparently I talk too fast at the end. So peace.